Hey everyone, Gaijin Goombah here, and I am here with a very lovely and special guest, Akitara, my wonderful wife.
Wait, special guest? What?
You are a special guest.
Okay.
So anyway, this is the month of monsters, and we went to go see Shin Godzilla, and I figured, you know what, let's just talk about King of the Monsters. Shin Godzilla, by the way, tons of spoilers in this, so if you haven't... Oh, geez, my leg in the desk. But, I mean, we waited till the end of the week to do this, so we want to make sure that everyone had the chance to go see it before we roll this analysis out, because we are spoiling everything in this process. But when you're culturally analyzing something, you kind of have to. You got to pick apart all the different pieces, so... Anywho, this movie was very, very different, yet kind of the same all at the same time. Like, if you went into this expecting, like, a big monster brawl or something along those lines, you would be heavily disappointed. I kind of was at the beginning. This movie is basically a retelling of the very, very first Godzilla movie back in, like, the 50s, back when it was all black and white and whatnot.
Yeah.
And Godzilla at the time was a manifestation, like a manifested symbol of the atomic bomb and the destruction it can cause, and that's predominantly what this movie was about, like even more so than the original movie. But there were dozens of little things here and there that I'm like, I get what they're going for, I get what they're going for, I get what they're going for, and then the rest of the audience would just like laugh, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So the movie opens up, and I love this because I didn't think they had I didn't think Toho had the balls to do this, but they did it. They made fun of Japanese bureaucracy. I loved it. At the very beginning, it's like the first act of this entire movie is just the Japanese government dicking around trying to figure out, oh, should we do this? Do we need to have a committee for this? We need to have a meeting for this. We got to talk to the right people in order for this to happen.
Another meeting.
And they
Give me this person.
And
Call
like
them.
freaking 3 wards of Tokyo were destroyed by the time they had the authorization to do anything. Yeah. And it was funny because the audience was just legitimately laughing at parts that were just, oh, they're having another meeting. And I'm like, you guys may laugh, but this is real.
Yeah, like, like the rest of the audience is laughing. We're over here like,
yeah, I'm just, oh god, it's too
like,
real.
That's how it is.
It is how it is. It's like every single stupid thing has to have a procedure, which is, no, I'm gonna make slappy sounds.
No, you almost slapped me in the face.
Well, I'm sorry for that. But no, it's like every single stupid thing in Japan requires like a committee, a ceremony, someone else's permission to go potty. It drives me crazy. I love that country, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of crap I hate about it, and the bureaucracy is one of them. I am very sniffly. But but it's like they had to go through, I don't know. I don't know what else to say to that except it's not as boring as you think it would be. Like, bureaucracy's really just paint watch dryingly terribly boring, but it was actually kind of amusing. So anyway, let's move on to Godzilla himself. They made Godzilla terrifying. Like, freaking effing terrifying.
Very intimidating.
Like, even in his dirt phase, if you looked at it from a side view, because its eyes didn't focus on anything, and that gave it that real uncanny valley kind of feel, and that was just, ooh. And then the scene where its first metamorphosis, or its first mutation,
where it like evolves and it stood up.
It stood up. Its head was all the way up, and it's just a 180-degree angle, mouth like, open roar, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
So
that was actually really cool, though.
It was cool, and from a cultural standpoint, like for what they were trying to do, the message they were trying to bring, it made sense. It made sense for him to be pants-poopingly terrifying. But before we got to that part, we had to sit through more bureaucracy. It's like, they had their chance to take him out. They had 4 Apaches in the air. All they had to do was get permission from they had to go through 3 different individual people before they could even open fire on the thing, right?
It was like, you had, like, I guess the prime minister, the woman, the guy, and then they were speaking to the pilots.
For one, that's just Japan's crazy bureaucracy, like I've said for the first 3 minutes of this video. Good grief, this is gonna take a while. And then you freaking have, there's like 2 old people left, and granted, I wouldn't want to bomb 2 old people, but bombing 2 old people, versus taking out this monster that's already destroyed 2 entire wards. You gotta put the balance in. The thing, though, is, like, I heard people just sighing and being horribly exasperated around me, and I'm like, you guys gotta understand is that Japan doesn't really fight for itself. Like, Japan swore off war. Swore constitutionally off war. So, for them to ever go in guns blazing without a lot of tactile decisions is... It didn't surprise me. Like, everyone around me was like, oh, just kill it already. I'm like, if only you knew, guys. If only you knew. So, yeah, it's just not what Japan does. Japan just doesn't fight. I mean, 9 times out of 10, we're the one, you know, in the U.S., we're the ones that are typically doing that for them. Which, you know, World War II packs and all that, so, anywho.
They don't even have a standing army, right?
No, they do have an SDF force.
SDF, that's it.
So, let's now talk about the actual final form of Godzilla, which is this crazy thing right here. It's legitimately terrifying. The freaking teeth, the eyes that are going opposite directions.
The eyes.
But here's the thing. Like, when he got up and finally did the atomic breath for the first time, that was your reaction. That was everyone's reaction. Everyone was just like, yeah, do it, blow it up, yeah, destruction. I'm like,
what's really weird is that that's actually the first time I've actually seen. I we'll get back to this, but after Fukushima Daiho and everything with
you mean Daiichi?
Daiichi, sorry.
You mean just number one, literally reactor number one.
That was the first time seeing Godzilla do that it actually made me feel a little uncomfortable.
That was the whole point.
I know it was the whole point, but it was just like, because it wasn't just that blast. It was
it wasn't a single
burst.
beam. Here's the crazy thing. This Godzilla has photon beams coming all over his body.
Was awesome.
It was cool. I will give you that. Mouth, tail, the entire back is just photons everywhere. Yeah. And the other thing too is that it didn't just come out as a single beam.
Yeah.
It came out as like it was fire. It was just this massive fire. And then it condensed into a beam.
Yeah.
And then it just slashed the crap out of all the buildings and just exploded. And it's like, all I'm sitting here thinking is, my God. Not only is this atomic bomb imagery, this is firebombing imagery. Yeah. Firebombing killed 2 to 3 times as many people in World War II in Japan, civilians in Japan, than the atomic bombs did. And like everyone around me was just like, yeah, cool destruction, all these cool effects and stuff's blown up, and I'm just I was legit mortified. Yeah. I know that makes me sound like a horrible weeaboo, but it's like, I was there for the March 11th earthquake. I know I've said that 100 times, but I need to kind of drive in home why I felt the way I did and why no one else seemed to in this theater. I was there I felt that earthquake. I was safe. I was like 200 miles away from that. I still felt it. I still felt the aftershocks. I didn't get sleep for days because of how terrified I was that, God, what if Kansai's next? Kanto got slammed. Who's to say we're not next? We're on this giant fault line. I saw the live footage of the giant tsunamis coming in. And I was there when Fukushima freaking fell apart and they almost had a meltdown. I saw stores, my grocery store, didn't have food for a while. Not because we needed it, but they were shipping up north. I couldn't find bottled water for 3 months. I couldn't find rice for 3 months. Simply because it was all getting shipped up north. Because of the tens of thousands of people that were either dying or dead or missing. So when I was watching this movie, I couldn't do much of anything except either like shake my head in disbelief or just like felt very heart-wrenched. Because I knew what the message was. The message wasn't about atomic bombings, which we're going to get to later because that part was stupid. But nuclear power and just the existence of it in itself. Like, I was present for protests for anti-nuclear movements in Japan. I saw that firsthand. So it's like, I'm just saying, this movie had more deep moments than I really thought I was going to give it credit for. Let's wrap this up to the very end because everything in between was a lot of more bureaucracy, more action.
Location.
That one dude that spazzed out with the computer. That was like that was the funniest scene
awesome.
ever. That was the funniest scene ever. But here's the cool thing. This was the movie's ultimate saving grace, and why I would argue. Sorry, I keep kicking the desk. Why I would argue that this is one of the best Godzilla movies ever made, and it's because at the very, very end, they actually freeze, like they coagulate Godzilla's blood so he's just frozen. But no, at the very end, the main character, for lack of a better put, there's a lot of characters in this movie, but there's not a lot of focus on them, so that was actually kind of a good thing. They said, we're going to have to learn to live with him. That was the most poignant thing in that entire movie, and I loved it. And I loved it because that is the movie that is Toho saying, we're going to have to live with nuclear technology. And this is something that bothered me. Like I mentioned earlier, witnessing the different protests, saying that they need that Japan just needs to stop using nuclear technology in its entirety. There's no replacement for it. There is nothing there is nothing cleaner, there is nothing easier, and there's nothing more productive to crank a turbine than nuclear fission.
Yeah.
I believe it's fission. But I thought that was really, really cool, the way that they left that message there. It wasn't anti-nuclear. It was, we have to live with this and learn how to manage it. I mean, it's interesting because the plan to stop Godzilla wasn't to blow him up, basically like they did in the original movie with the oxygen bomb. I think it was an oxygen bomb. They froze him. I'm like, you might as well just call Godzilla Fukushima Daiichi. I'm serious, because that's what they had to do. They had to constantly flush it out, and I'm like, this movie's brilliant. This movie made a great message about Japan's state of mind when it comes to this really, really dangerous thing, and everyone. You had an epiphany?
Yeah. Well, actually, whenever they were pumping full of the serum and they were using it on the cranes, that's actually they had to use robots to try to cool the reactor down. I just thought about that. Holy crap. Huh.
So it's like, I honestly, I don't know what else to say besides everyone in the movie was like happy to see Godzilla. Everyone was cheering when he did his signature moves and when he was being this big giant badass, and like I felt like I was the only one in the movie theater that was legitimately uncomfortable when all of that was going down. But it was discomfort for the sake, like being uncomfortable was the point of that entire movie. And I understand why, Toho did the things that they did. I just wish there was more appreciation for it, because it was such a brilliant thing. Like, not only did Toho bring back Godzilla and brought him back great and brought him back terrifying, they brought him back with such a beautiful message. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Are you good? All right. Oh, God, that was impressive, Kiss. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. More monster videos are coming out. More yokai and other monsters are going to be coming out. I also have something very, very special for Reinhardt of Overwatch in the not too distant future. So anyway, this is Gaijin Goombah.
And Akita.
Can you say that not creepily?
Akita.
Signing out. If you want to learn more about the amazing world we live in through gaming and geek culture, give that subscribe button a poke, but don't forget to also click that notification button too to make sure you never miss a new upload. But if you can't wait, click those annotations and links in the description for even more culture and nerdom. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hey everyone, Gaijin Goombah. Goombah. Let's try that one again, shall we? Hey everyone, Gaijin Goombah here, and I am joined with my very beautiful wife, Aki. I almost said Aki Dearest.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you're gonna get in trouble.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Good job.
I'm in the doghouse tonight, guys. Come save me, please.